more. The New England Patriots and veteran wide receiver Stefon Diggs are parting ways. The Patriots have reportedly informed Diggs that he will be released at the start of the new year next week.
The NFL landscape just shifted. Star wide receiver Stefon Diggs has officially been traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, joining superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes and elite tight end Travis Kelce. It's a blockbuster move no one saw coming, and when you hear the real reason behind the shocking deal, it will change everything. The fall. When the 2025 NFL offseason opened up, Stefon Diggs was coming off one of the most difficult moments of his career. In 2024, while playing for the Houston Texans, Diggs suffered a torn ACL, the kind of injury that doesn't just take your season, it takes a piece of your identity as a player. For a receiver whose entire game is built on precision routes, sharp cuts, and the ability to separate from defensive backs in the blink of an eye, a torn ACL is not just physical damage. It is an attack on everything that makes you who you are on a football field. So, when the New England Patriots came calling in the 2025 offseason and offered Diggs a 3-year deal worth between $63.5 million and $69 million, the question was simple. Was Diggs healthy enough, hungry enough, and focused enough to prove that he was still one of the best in the business? The answer to that question, based purely on what happened on the football field in 2025, was a resounding yes. Diggs did not just survive his first season in New England, he thrived. He finished the regular season with 85 receptions for 1,013 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns over 17 games, leading the team in catches and becoming the anchor of Drake May's passing attack. That made it 7 1,000-yard receiving seasons in his last 8 years, a level of consistency that puts him in a class with some of the greatest receivers of his era. And it was not just the numbers. Diggs showed up as a leader in that locker room, delivering speeches before games, buying into the culture that head coach Mike Vrabel was building from scratch, and mentoring the young franchise quarterback who was just beginning to find his footing in the NFL. When Diggs performed on the field in 2025, he hit his incentives. He helped a young quarterback grow. He was everything the Patriots needed him to be between the white lines. And the Patriots did not just make the playoffs. They made a run all the way to Super Bowl 60, where they ultimately fell to the Seattle Seahawks. But reaching the Super Bowl in year 1 of the Vrabel era, with a rookie quarterback and a receiver coming off a torn ACL, that is not a failure. That is a foundation being built in real time. Diggs was a central part of that story. And yet, on March 4th, 2026, the New England Patriots informed Stefon Diggs that he would be released when the new league year officially began on March 11th. Just like that. 1 Super Bowl run, 1,000-yard season, 1 year, done. Now here is where the story gets complicated, because the reasons the Patriots are letting Diggs go are layered. There is the financial reason, which is the one that every team executive will lead with when they talk to the press. There is the off-field reason, which is the one that people whisper about in hallways and say out loud on podcasts. And then there is the contract structure reason, which was baked into this deal from day one and tells you everything you need to know about how the Patriots approached this from the very beginning. Let's start with the money, because in the NFL, it always starts with the money. When Diggs signed his deal in the 2025 offseason, the contract was built in a way that made the first year extremely team-friendly. His cap hit in 2025 was only around $10.5 million, a remarkably low number for a receiver of his caliber and production history. The Patriots were essentially taking a 1-year flyer on a guy coming off a serious injury, and they structured the deal so that if it didn't work out, they could walk away clean. But if they kept him into 2026, the price tag exploded. His cap hit for the 2026 season was set to jump to $26.5 million, one of the largest numbers on the entire roster. And on top of that, if he remained on the team past a specific deadline in early March, an additional $6 million of his 2026 salary would become fully guaranteed. The Patriots were not willing to let that clock run out. By releasing him before that trigger date, they avoided those guarantees entirely, saved approximately $16.8 million in cap space, and boosted their overall financial flexibility to roughly $55 to $57 million heading into free agency, 7th most in the entire NFL. The math is cold, the math is brutal, but the math is undeniable. When you are running a football team and you can redirect $16.8 million in cap space toward your offensive line, your edge rusher, your linebacker core, and the extension of young homegrown players, you do it, even if the guy you are releasing just helped you reach the Super Bowl. But money alone does not fully explain what happened here, because if you talk to people around the league, and if you listen to what analysts and Hall of Famers are saying publicly, there is a second layer to this story, and that layer has Stefon Diggs' name written all over it, in ways that have nothing to do with roots or touchdowns. On December 2nd, 2025, an alleged altercation took place at Diggs' residence residence in Dedham, Massachusetts, involving a dispute with his former personal chef. According to the police report, the disagreement began over unpaid compensation. The chef claimed she had not been paid what she was owed. The situation escalated beyond a text message argument. According to her account, Diggs confronted the chef in her room, became angry, struck her across the face, and then allegedly placed his elbow around her neck in a manner that caused her to feel short of breath. The chef reported the incident to authorities, and on December 30th, 2025, formal charges were filed. 1 count of felony strangulation or suffocation, and 1 count of misdemeanor assault and battery. This is not a minor situation. A felony strangulation charge in Massachusetts carries potentially severe penalties, including possible imprisonment if convicted. On February 13, 2026, less than a week after the Patriots lost in Super Bowl LX, Diggs appeared in Dedham District Court for his arraignment. He pleaded not guilty to both charges. His attorney entered the plea on his behalf. Diggs did not speak during the hearing. The judge released him on personal recognizance with no bail required, but issued a no-contact order prohibiting him from any communication with the alleged victim. A pre-trial hearing is scheduled for April 1st, 2026. As of now, it is critical to be absolutely clear. Diggs has pleaded not guilty. These are allegations. He has not been convicted of anything. But in the NFL, where optics and organizational culture carry enormous weight, the mere presence of active felony charges hanging over a player's head is enough to shift conversations dramatically.
I thought he done a great job in the locker room.
Superb.
I thought he was great being available when he played. The locker room, what's up? What's going on?
I think the distractions off the field is too much for them.
Shannon Sharpe is not mincing words. He is saying out loud what a lot of people inside NFL buildings are saying privately. The off-field noise became too loud, regardless of what Diggs was doing on Sundays. And Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon expressed no surprise at the release, specifically citing Diggs' baggage as a contributing factor in the decision. The word baggage is doing a lot of work in that sentence. It is not just the legal case. It is a pattern. It is the social media controversies. It is the boat party video. It is the trade requests from Buffalo. It is the question that follows Stefon Diggs from city to city. Is the production worth the turbulence? And then there is the relationship element that has added yet another dimension to the entire situation. Diggs and rapper Cardi B have been publicly linked, with reports noting they share a baby boy together. But that relationship has not been smooth sailing in the public eye. Reports noted that Cardi B dissed Diggs during recent tour performances, creating tabloid headlines and social media drama that spilled over into the football conversation. In the NFL, and especially in New England, where the organizational culture has historically demanded a singular focus on football above all else, that kind of visibility in the gossip columns is not something that goes unnoticed by decision makers. Everything that could go sideways went sideways all at once, right at the worst possible moment. Legal issues surfacing during the playoff run, personal drama playing out in public, a Super Bowl loss, and then the release. This is the kind of NFL story that happens to players who are unbelievably talented, but who carry enough unpredictability that teams eventually have to make a decision about whether the production justifies the noise. The Patriots made their decision, and to his credit, to his enormous credit, Stefon Diggs handled the news with a level of class that silenced at least some of the critics. On Instagram stories, Diggs posted a farewell message to the Patriots organization. "Thank you for a hell of a year. We family forever Patriots. Until we meet again." He signed it with his jersey number 8 and tagged the team's account. No bitterness, no shots fired, no cryptic posts throwing shade at the front office, just gratitude and professionalism from a man who just had the rug pulled out from under him after a season where he led his team to the Super Bowl. But behind that gracious public face, there were signs of something more complicated. Reports noted that Diggs unfollowed the Patriots on social media and cleared Patriots-related content from his profile, the kind of quiet digital signal that speaks volumes without saying a word. He is moving on, and now the entire NFL world is watching and waiting to see exactly where he lands next. The case for Kansas City. After the announcement that the New England Patriots would release Stefon Diggs on March 11, 2026, speculation quickly centered on the Kansas City Chiefs. Analysts and insiders point to strong football reasons for the potential move, including roster needs, salary cap flexibility, and the opportunity to play with Patrick Mahomes. Let's establish the foundation first. The Kansas City Chiefs finished the 2025 NFL season with a 6-11 record, a collapse that shocked the football world for a franchise that had spent the better part of the last decade at or near the top of the NFL. And the reason for that collapse was not complicated. Their quarterback quarterback Patrick Mahomes suffered an ACL injury that derailed the entire season before it could ever really get started. Mahomes without his knee is not Mahomes, and the Chiefs without Mahomes at full strength are not the Chiefs. The season was essentially lost the moment that injury was confirmed, and the team finished it out in survival mode while planning their full-scale rebuild around their superstar quarterback's return. Now Mahomes is working his way back. His stated goal is to be ready to start the 2026 season, but the Chiefs' front office is not sitting back and waiting for the quarterback to heal. They are actively reshaping the roster, and one of the most striking moves they made in this same news cycle was the trade of cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams, an all-pro caliber player, in exchange for a package of draft picks, including a first-round selection. The Chiefs are not blowing everything up because they have lost faith in Patrick Mahomes. They are restructuring around him, collecting draft capital, creating cap flexibility, and positioning themselves to build the next great Chiefs team that will be ready to dominate when Mahomes is fully healthy and operating at peak level again. And with that McDuffie trade, the Chiefs freed up significant salary cap room. Kansas City is reported to have approximately $24.9 million in cap space available heading into free agency, enough room to make a real move at the wide receiver position without destroying their roster building flexibility elsewhere. Enter Stefon Diggs. The core argument for why Diggs makes sense in Kansas City is not complicated. Patrick Mahomes is widely considered the best quarterback in football. His ability to find open receivers, extend plays with his legs, and deliver the ball in tight windows is unmatched by anyone currently in the NFL. And for a receiver like Diggs, who has built his entire career around precision route running, the ability to create separation at the top of his routes, and the consistency to produce at a high level week after week, playing with the best quarterback in football is the single most important variable in his ability to keep putting up elite numbers at 32 years old. Diggs has thrived in scheme-heavy offenses with smart signal callers his whole career, and Andy Reid's system in Kansas City is the gold standard for putting receivers in positions to succeed. Bleacher Report ranked Kansas City as one of the top 5 landing spots for Diggs after the Patriots' announcement, specifically noting that Diggs could rack up career-high numbers playing alongside Mahomes in a pass-heavy scheme. Heavy Sports called the Chiefs a top contender for Diggs' signature, emphasizing his 7 1,000-yard seasons in 8 years as proof that he would be a legitimate boost to a receiving core, but has lacked the kind of reliable veteran number 1 option that championship teams typically carry. And Last Word on Sports went even further, projecting a Chiefs signing outright, describing Diggs as a longtime rival-turned-asset whose history of competing against the Chiefs from his Buffalo days actually makes him uniquely positioned to understand what it takes to beat them and to contribute to their continued dominance from the inside. What the market for Diggs actually looks like right now is a short-term prove-it contract in the range of $8 to $12 million per year with incentive clauses baked in, the kind of deal where the player bets on himself to perform well enough to earn a bigger payday down the road. This is exactly the type of contract that Kansas City GM Brett Veach has historically been excellent at constructing. Low base, high ceiling based on performance, mutual benefit for both sides. Arrowhead Pride specifically listed Diggs as among the players fitting this exact prove-it deal mold for Kansas City. The timeline matters too. Diggs wants to chase a ring. He has been unbelievably productive. Over 9,000 career receiving yards, 67 touchdowns, multiple All-Pro selections, but he has never won a Super Bowl. He has watched the Chiefs win multiple championships from the other side of the rivalry. He played for the Buffalo Bills, who were perhaps the most consistently frustrated team in the AFC, specifically because of the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes standing in their way. He knows better than almost anyone in the league exactly how good Mahomes is and exactly what kind of dynasty he would be joining if he signed in Kansas City. There is also an important personal dynamic to consider here, one that Diggs himself has addressed publicly. On the subject of Mahomes specifically, Diggs once said in an interview, "If anybody could beat Father Time, it'd be Mahomes," a remarkable quote from a competitor who spent years trying to beat that same player. And during 2023 Super Bowl week discussions, Diggs commented on why he often picked Kansas City to win, saying, "They haven't played Patrick Mahomes. I've played Patrick Mahomes," meaning the teams that don't know what it feels like to go up against him don't fully understand the problem. Diggs understands the problem, and now he has the chance to become part of the solution. Now consider the ripple effect on the rest of the offense. The NFL conversation around Kansas City has included serious uncertainty about Travis Kelce's future, with retirement rumors circulating and questions about what the tight end, who is heading into his age 37 season, will look like physically after a down 2025. If Kelce does return, then Diggs alongside him and Mahomes is one of the most frightening offensive combinations in the NFL. If Kelce does not return, then Diggs becomes even more central to what the Chiefs need to do offensively in 2026, and his value to the team increases dramatically. It is a win-win scenario for Kansas City, regardless of how the Kelce situation resolves itself. But here's the counter-argument. Those concerns are precisely why the Chiefs should be most aggressive about bringing in Diggs. When you have uncertainty at quarterback timing and at tight end, the answer is to surround the returning star with as many weapons as possible to ease his transition back onto the field. Diggs, who went through his own ACL recovery just 1 year ago and posted over 1,000 yards in the process, is not afraid of returning from injury and performing. He has done it. He knows how to do it. That shared experience, both him and Mahomes coming back from ACL tears, creates an unusual and powerful form of mutual understanding that goes beyond just football. And let's talk about the legacy angle, because this matters enormously to players at this stage of their careers. Diggs already has over 9,000 career receiving yards and multiple All-Pro selections, and his Hall of Fame case is being built game by game. But the one thing that Hall of Fame voters, and frankly the football public, love to see is a great player in a championship moment. Diggs has never won a Super Bowl. The Chiefs are one of the most reliable organizations in football history for producing Super Bowl appearances. This is not a small consideration. For a player who is 32, who has already been to 4 different teams, who has faced criticism his entire career about being difficult to win with, walking into Kansas City and helping Patrick Mahomes win another championship would be one of the most powerful career narrative resets imaginable. There is one more critical element to the Kansas City fit that separates it from every other team being mentioned in Diggs' free agency speculation: Andy Reid. In terms of pure offensive coaching genius, there is almost no one in the history of the NFL who compares to what Reid has done over the course of his career. He is a Hall of Fame coach whose offensive system has made great receivers even greater and extended careers beyond what anyone thought was possible. Diggs, who excels at precision routes and using his intelligence to find the soft spots in coverage, is tailor-made for the kind of scheme that Reid has built in Kansas City. This is not a situation where a receiver has to learn an entirely foreign system. This is a receiver whose strengths are maximized by the specific principles that the Chiefs' offense is built around: the risks, the rivals, and what happens next. Now here's where we have to be honest, because this video would not be complete and it would not be fair to you as a viewer if we only told you the side of the story that sounds exciting and clean and perfectly packaged for a highlight reel. The reality is that a Stefon Diggs signing in Kansas City comes with real, substantive risks on both sides, and the people who are dismissing those risks are not paying close enough attention to the full picture. So let's walk through every single complication, every obstacle, every landmine that sits between Stefon Diggs and a Chiefs uniform, and then we'll tell you what we think actually happens. The first and most unavoidable issue is the legal situation. Diggs has an active felony strangulation charge and a misdemeanor assault and battery charge hanging over his head right now. He pleaded not guilty. His legal team has described the incident as a financial dispute that escalated and denied the assault allegations. None of this has been adjudicated, but here is the reality for NFL teams in the modern era. You cannot sign a player with active felony charges without making a calculated gamble about what the NFL is going to do next. The league's personal conduct policy gives the commissioner broad authority to investigate and discipline players facing criminal charges, regardless of whether those charges result in a conviction. A suspension, even a short one, changes the calculus dramatically for a team trying to rebuild around an injured quarterback. If you bring in Diggs and he misses the first 4 games of the season while the NFL investigates, you have created a problem without solving one, and the Chiefs' locker room is not without its own complications in this area. Rashee Rice, one of their key young receivers, has faced his own domestic assault charges and a potential suspension. Adding Diggs to that mix means you now have 2 players on your receiving core navigating serious legal situations simultaneously. That is a PR management challenge on top of a football management challenge, and some analysts have specifically noted that the Chiefs already have more than enough trouble making pass catchers without adding another layer of off-field complexity to an already complicated complicated room. The second major risk is the age and durability question. Diggs is 32, turning 33 in November 2026. He is coming off a torn ACL in 2024. While his 2025 performance was genuinely impressive and demonstrated that his physical abilities have largely returned, the natural regression curve for a receiver who relies on explosiveness, change of direction, and the ability to make precise cuts at full speed, that curve does not flatten out at age 33. It continues downward. Diggs' 2025 regular season included 10 games where he finished under 50 receiving yards. His playoff performance showed a notable drop in efficiency, averaging just 27.5 yards per game over 4 postseason contests. Those are not catastrophic numbers, but they are not the numbers of a receiver who is still operating at his absolute peak. Teams betting on Diggs are betting on the version of him that exists right now, not the version from his Buffalo prime, and not the version that might decline further as the miles accumulate. Third, the role question. The Kansas City Chiefs are not going to hand Stefon Diggs the keys to the offense and tell him to run it as the undisputed number one. They already have Rashee Rice, who is a young, explosive receiver that the organization has a significant long-term investment in. They have Xavier Worthy, who brings a speed dimension that no other receiver in the league can replicate. They may have Travis Kelce back, which would mean the most pass-catching tight end in NFL history is once again commanding a large share of the target volume. In that context, where exactly does Diggs fit? Is he the number one? Is he a high-quality number two? Is he a situational weapon used in specific packages? For a player who has spent his entire career as a true wide receiver one, a guy who needs volume to stay in rhythm and produce at a high level, the idea of being deployed as a complementary piece could be a significant psychological and practical adjustment. There is also the matter of Diggs' broader reputation as someone who has historically expressed frustration when his role is reduced or when he feels underutilized. The trade request he filed in Buffalo is the most famous example of this, but it is not an isolated incident. It is part of a pattern that stretches across multiple organizations and multiple coaching staffs. The Chiefs' locker room, under Andy Reid and with Mahomes as the unquestioned leader, is about as stable and well-managed an environment as exists in professional football. But if Diggs is not getting the ball at the frequency he believes he deserves, that history suggests the possibility of tension. And tension in a Chiefs locker room that is already navigating significant roster transitions and a quarterback returning from injury is the last thing Kansas City needs. Now let's talk about who else is in the mix for Diggs' services, because Kansas City is not operating in a vacuum, and the competition for his signature will shape the financial terms and the decision-making on all sides. The Buffalo Bills have been mentioned as a potential reunion landing spot, which would be one of the most dramatic homecoming stories in recent NFL history. Diggs spent his most productive years in Buffalo from 2020 to 2023, building a deep connection with Josh Allen and becoming one of the best receiver-quarterback duos in football. The relationship ended badly, with Diggs requesting a trade and eventually landing in Houston. But time has a way of healing those wounds in the NFL, and if the Bills believe they can offer Diggs a role that works for both sides, that conversation could move quickly. The Denver Broncos also showed interest in Diggs in the previous offseason and remain a team that could make a legitimate pitch. The Tennessee Titans have also been mentioned as a potential destination where Diggs could serve as a solid veteran number 2 receiver on a team that is still building. But Tennessee is not a Super Bowl contender right now, and for a player who has never won a ring and knows his window is narrowing, signing with a rebuilding team for the money is a choice that risks looking exactly like what it is, a player collecting a paycheck instead of chasing a championship. So the Patriots are chasing A.J. Brown, the Chiefs are pursuing Stefon Diggs, and the entire wide receiver market is in motion simultaneously. This is the NFL offseason at its most dynamic and interconnected. Every decision ripples outward and changes the landscape for every other team in real time. Now let's bring it all together and give you the honest assessment of what we actually think happens here. The case for Diggs signing with the Chiefs is real. The cap space is there, the need is there, the scheme fit is there, the career motivation is there. The quarterback situation is arguably the best in football when Mahomes is healthy, but the risks are not nothing. The legal case is ongoing, and the NFL's personal conduct office is watching. The age-related concerns are legitimate for a receiver who relies on physical precision. The role definition in Kansas City's crowded passing offense requires careful navigation, and the competition from other teams, including emotionally resonant options like a Bills reunion, means that Kansas City cannot simply assume they are the obvious destination. March 9th is when the tampering period opens. March 11 is when the new league year officially begins, and Diggs becomes an unrestricted free agent. The timeline is tight, the competition is real, and the stakes could not be higher for everyone involved. Watch this space closely, because whether it is Kansas City or somewhere else, Stefon Diggs is about to make a decision that will define the final chapter of one of the most fascinating careers in recent NFL history, and the ripple effects of that decision will be felt across the entire league for years to come. Found this information exciting and unbelievable? Be sure to check out other similar and amazing videos on the screen. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.